everyone, and welcome to our weekly Power Lounge. This is your place to hear authentic conversations from those who have power to share. My name is Amy Vaughan, and I am the owner and Chief Empowerment Officer of Together Digital, a diverse and collaborative community of women who work in digital and choose to share their knowledge, power, and connections. You can join the movement at togetherindigital.com. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Dana Johnson, a Pinterest marketing strategist who has changed how we think about sustainable digital marketing. As the founder of Styled Pin Collection, Dana is creating a monthly membership that empowers creative entrepreneurs with strategic, on-brand Pinterest content that drives results. I love it. Creative, business-minded. Gosh, we're all going to be friends, aren't we? After transitioning from the wedding industry to education, Dana brings a refreshing perspective on digital marketing that prioritizes sustainability over burnout. At a time when many of us feel overwhelmed by the demands of daily social media posting, Dana is offering a compelling alternative, leveraging Pinterest as a visual search engine that delivers high-quality, evergreen traffic directly to your business offers, content, and email lists. What makes Dana's approach particularly valuable is her focus on creating marketing systems that work for you, not the other way around. She specializes in helping service providers, product-based businesses build lasting visibility without the constant pressure to show up on social feeds every day. Dana, we're so delighted to have you here with us to share your expertise on all things Pinterest and beyond with our community. Welcome to the Power Lounge.
Thank you. That was quite the introduction, and I sent some of it to you, so that was quite nice.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, we're thrilled to have you here. And again, many alignments, again, as like a former agency creative and now a business owner. I just think I love how creatives approach business, right? Because it's not just about the pretty things. It's like, how do we make space for and optimize our time to be able to make things nicer, more fun, and more pretty. So I love how smart you are with not just what you do in the social media space, but how you're doing your business. It makes a lot of sense. And I love that this became our topic because people are probably scratching their head going, what, Pinterest? Many people still view Pinterest as primarily a social platform rather than a search engine. What was your aha moment that sort of changed how you approach Pinterest marketing? Because I love this insight.
So I feel like I have a couple. Like it took a few aha moments for me to be like, oh, I need to really like lock in and hone in on this strategy. But one of them was I realized Pinterest wasn't just a place for pretty things. It wasn't just for what am I cooking this week or how am I entertaining my children? Because when I was really using Pinterest the most, I was a stay-at-home mom and trying to figure out how to entertain my children and educate them in a fun, like hands-on way. And so, of course, I turned to Pinterest for that.
Yeah.
But once I launched my business and was helping my clients find non-traditional ways of marketing that wasn't just social media, because I primarily work with creative business owners and especially those in the wedding space. Well, in 2020, wedding shows went up in smoke. Like your primary lead source of getting in front of a bunch of wedding couples planning their wedding was gone. Like, how are we going to figure that out? How do we pull them to your website if you can no longer attend these shows? So I started looking and figuring it out that Pinterest is a search engine. It's built for discoverability. And that was another aha moment. Like, duh, when I did weddings, I asked my couples for their Pinterest board so I could visualize what they were like talking about for their big day, what type of vendors they were looking for. So I had created this LinkedIn course just in my ebbs and flows of being an entrepreneur and tested the things that I learned about Pinterest. And I made a sale within like the first 30 days. I know. I was because I'd only done like a free masterclass. I'd done some little research and I was like, all right, let's test out these strategies and see if they actually work. And it did.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, that's when it hit me. Social media, because I had posted on social media and I made no sales. So social media is fun, but it's social. It's meant to connect and engage, but people aren't on there to learn, like to buy.
Yeah.
I mean, they
No,
do
that's not
buy.
their
It's
mindset.
obviously people buy,
All right.
but they're not there to buy. They're
Yes, that
not
was
there to
their impression.
discover. They're there to be entertained. So
Mhm.
if you're lucky enough to entertain them towards buying, great.
Right.
But if you're not, well, you need another platform. So
Mhm.
Pinterest is one of these platforms that rewards consistency and searchability. So if you're honing in on those keywords, that is how you can scale and build your visibility
Mhm.
without having to chase algorithms, learn a do dance move, or anything else that comes with being on social media.
Right. Because it does. It feels like you're constantly jumping through hoops, like you said, trying to keep up with the API changes, trying to track the trends. It can get really exhausting. And so you've built your business around helping entrepreneurs escape that social media, that sometimes inevitable, right? Social media
Mhm.
burnout. Could you share a little bit about your journey from kind of wedding? You did a little bit allude to it before, but like wedding professional to Pinterest strategist?
Yes. So I love celebrating life events, and I have always been that friend that planned the
Mm.
things
Yeah.
and made stuff happen. Like it wasn't ever just, oh, let's go to dinner. Oh no, let's do a whole dinner experience.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Got to go
or
big.
let's do it at home and have a weekly game night with fun recipes and whatever. I
Mhm.
was that friend.
Yeah.
So I got a degree in wedding and event management, and where, creativity is in high demand, but
Yeah.
that also leads to burnout because now you're forced to get creative as opposed to creating space for you to sit with it, really dive into what's trending or where your couples are leaning into and what is
Mhm.
unique about them. If it's forced, it's exhausting
Yeah.
and it's no longer fun. So I was managing social media and admin work for my clients, and it just felt like we could never keep up with what was
Mm.
going on. Like
Yeah.
carousel styles change, what
Mhm.
hashtags, what's this, what's that. But I also was irritated for my clients because
Yeah.
they spend 12 to 18 months designing these luxury level, either a styled editorial or a wedding,
Mhm.
and it disappears in 24 hours. Like that's a
Right?
slap in the face for all of your hard work, late
Yeah.
nights, and blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah. That's a
So
great
when
point.
I noticed that Pinterest was a place to drive traffic to wedding content, one, organically, because I don't like paying for anything if I don't have to.
Right?
But two, it almost helps you hack the algorithm because you
Mhm.
can link to your reel. You can
Yep.
link to that carousel and give it that longer shelf life.
Mhm.
And that's what really made me dive wholeheartedly into it because I was trying to offer both,
Mhm.
still being an admin because it was safe,
Yeah.
and then offering Pinterest because like you need that. You don't know
Mhm.
you need it, but you need it.
Right.
And it was learning that of the ability to almost hack the algorithm of linking directly to the content that you worked so hard to create.
Yeah.
I was like, that's it. Done. I'm the unapologetic pinner, and I'm telling everyone that they
Good.
have to be on here to get that consistent brand visibility
Mhm.
that we need because those in the creative space mostly don't have repeat clients. You need a fresh
Right.
wave of new ones,
Mhm.
and Pinterest is the way that one is the platform they're going to plan their wedding anyway. So
Right.
let's bring them to you.
I love it. Let's dig in a little bit more to Pinterest and its algorithm because it is a little bit different and user behaviors are quite different from platforms like Instagram or TikTok, which is where I think a lot of marketers probably spend most of their time, depending on their product or service. So, what are
Mhm.
some maybe fundamental mindset shifts that marketers would need to make when they're thinking about developing a Pinterest strategy?
I think the biggest shift is you're not looking to go viral.
Yes.
There isn't really an instant gratification.
Hmm.
Terms I've been seeing lately is like a slow burn
Hmm.
or a slow build. It's about sustainable growth,
Uh-huh.
and you're looking to build like momentum. So Pinterest is the game of search, discoverability. So it's not like Instagram or anything where you're hoping to get thousands of views and likes
Right.
and then hooking them.
Hmm.
You're showing this is about creating touch points, sharing your knowledge and expertise, showing off your galleries. So, evergreen content is huge.
Yeah.
These timeless trends, these no matter if it's this year, 10 years ago, 10 years in the future, couples are going to have very similar concerns and overwhelms about
Yeah.
planning their wedding.
Mhm.
And you can create that content that leads them to you and gives them that confidence of, oh, this is a great idea.
Right.
I can do this wedding, or I need her to help me or
Yeah.
him to help me have this wedding that I keep dreaming about. It's
Mhm.
also a place for long-term planning and batch scheduling. And it's less about showing up daily
Mhm.
and more about creating resources that your
Okay.
ideal audience
I love
will
it.
keep searching for.
So almost like building like your own content library and letting it live on Instagram, on Pinterest as that. See, I'm just so used to talking about Instagram, that lives, kind of there's like you said, that evergreen content, which can be so, so valuable. And like you said, when it comes to like looking at it as a search. And I mean, I would honestly caution against any client or individual ever trying to sell something as potentially viral because, viral doesn't necessarily get you your intended goal, right? It's just,
Mhm.
it always drove me nuts, even like 15 years ago, when clients would be like, we want a viral video. And I was like, but what do you want to achieve with the viral
Mhm.
video? If you want more sales, then you probably don't want a viral video because viral videos don't necessarily equate to sales. We had a
Mhm.
really great podcast episode with Kenya Kelly. Gosh, it was probably sometime last year. And she is like amazing on TikTok. You should definitely check her out and follow her. She's got a great newsletter and whatnot. And she talked about an example of a law firm that came to her and was like, we want to be TikTok famous. And she says, do you want that or do you want more client leads? And they said, well, we want more client leads. She's like, I can make you viral, but I can't guarantee you it'll get you qualified leads on the phone calling you to represent them. And
Mhm.
so she created something that was a little bit more educational, and it resulted in over 126 phone calls to the
Ooh,
office that resulted in, I think, like 60 new potential clients. And it's like, though, that's the kind of viral I want to be. I don't know about the
right?
rest of y'all, but it's funny how we just get so caught up in like the instant fame that has potential to like be when you're on other social media platforms. And I think it's all the more reason to support what you're saying and not creating that Pinterest, very visually based content that's educational and evergreen. It's just literally sitting there working for you long after you've done the work. And I think that that's so great.
It definitely, I've always been someone that leans towards quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to dive all of your time, energy, and effort into one quality
Right.
blog post, one quality email opt in to nurture them, or one quality podcast episode, then I call it splicing and dicing, and then
Yeah.
dissect it into multiple
Mm-hmm.
different things.
Yeah.
Now you're able to target different people on different platforms, but you're not working from a place of, I need to figure out how to be on all 7,000 platforms that there are right now. I
Right.
already don't want to do that. That already sounds exhausting and decision fatigue, and I'm not going to move forward on anything.
Yep.
So, when I work with my clients, that's what I tell them. Let's
I love
focus on
it.
evergreen content,
Mm-hmm.
really good quality, and then how can we divide it up onto the various platforms?
Mm-hmm.
But you only get to focus on this one thing. And so for
Yeah.
wedding planners, it's the wedding that they're working on right now. Let's make
Yeah.
this the best wedding you've ever done, and then let's share it
Yeah.
in 500 different ways.
Mm-hmm. I love it. That's super smart. And I'm with you on the quality over quantity, especially with the amount of AI generated content that's out there, right? Marketers are like, oh, well, no, it's going to take my job. It's like, no, actually, people who know how to use AI well are going to be the ones that take your job. And like, that's how you, and it's not going to help other people market better. It's just going to show people who don't understand marketing that they don't understand marketing when they try to use AI as a subplant for that versus like that intentional, well thought out, insightful work. Again, I love AI tool as a tool for augmenting and supporting. I use it every damn day.
I
I'm
sure
not
do.
afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say it, but I agree. Like, I think that there's just this a mass of, and there always has been, for the last 15 years of just all of this content. And so, yeah, I am definitely a proponent of, one, evergreen, two, slicing and dicing and maximizing. And really, like, if you do that in a quality way, I mean, you are really getting some bang for your buck when you think about
Mhm.
it as well from like an efficiency and cost effectiveness standpoint.
That too. I didn't think about the cost effective. I was just like, well, I focus on energy costs. I'm like, because I
Mm-hmm.
have too many things going on behind the scenes
Yeah.
that I don't want to recreate
Yeah.
500 things. I don't have time
No.
to do that. And
No.
most of us don't.
No. Well, and I mean, I remember when I would still have like decent budgets and decent client, like size clients when I was at agencies, I would always be talking to them about, okay, we have a 1 day long shoot. You're going to shoot a 30-second TV ad. Like, let's shoot 60. And like, let's take time to hire in a still photographer. So somebody's walking around and getting, photos for your ads and billboards and whatever else you need and social media posts. And then we're going to take that 60-second and cut it to a 30. And then we're going to cut it to a 15. And then we're going to cut it and put it into something that can have captions so you can run it as a reel on Instagram. Like, really, like, why spend money recreating something over and over and over again? Because not only that, but you're creating brand consistency, right? Because every time they see that campaign, it's like, oh, it's consistent. I saw this on TV. It feels familiar. And then with the way we are as consumers, right? We got the memory of goldfish. We're getting a million messages thrown at us a day. And as marketers, we get tired of our own messages, but people have to hear it 6-7 times before they even stop and take notice. And so, yeah, this is why I love what you're doing, Dana. And it makes so much sense. To kind of stick on the topic of viralness, because it is a thing, right? On Pinterest, there's businesses getting lucky with like viral pins. But your approach emphasizes like strategic sustainability. What are some other things that we can touch upon? Although I know we went down that whole rabbit hole a little bit. What else does truly sustainable Pinterest systems, like marketing systems, look like in the work that you're doing?
So that is a great question, and I can go over it again because again, I think the last statistic I saw was it's on average 7 or up to 12 touch points before someone actually works with you, that's a lot of touch points.
Yeah.
So a sustainable system working with me, or really anyone that I recommend, is 4 parts: a strong foundation. So starting with a Pinterest business account, which is free. We love free again.
Yeah.
And then optimizing it for your ideal audience. So you want to have those keywords kind of trickled in, tell who you are, what you do, and what you're passionate about. And go ahead and have your website linked, your social medias linked. Anything else that you have in there, you can link into it. But then also think of the boards that you have. This is your portfolio. These are like little shelves that people are shopping in your store.
Yeah, I like that
basically.
analogy.
So what are your ideal audience couples looking for? Are they here for an outdoor tent wedding, luxury outdoor tent wedding? Or are they looking for fun workout clothes for a plus size woman? Like, these are things that it's going to be different for each person. And so you want boards that reflect that. And then the description of the board will again have those keywords in them.
I love it. Yeah, we're going to dig into keywords here more in a second. But first, I wanted to back up and talk about, like, for service-based businesses in particular, what types of content tend to perform best on Pinterest, and how can they connect that performance to actual client acquisition as people are kind of listening and brainstorming, okay, how do I get on Pinterest and make it worthwhile?
I always recommend educational content because that's what people, they're searching for. They don't know necessarily what they need, like specifics, other than it could be very broad. So educational content of like checklist tips, FAQs, or visuals of your work. So using a service-based provider in the health and wellness space, how to fit in micro workouts as a busy mom of 5. I don't know. It's off the top of my head. But if you're listening and this is something you offer, you look into that.
Exactly.
Or how to choose your wedding photographer. 5 design trends for branding in 2025. Yeah. I rebranded my entire business for Pinterest management on Pinterest.
Love it.
Funny. But those are the type of things. So educational, inspirational content will always win because people are searching. And another statistic that really hones in for me was 96% of searches are unbranded, meaning they know they need help with whatever it is that they're needing help with, whether it's a life change, a getting married, going on vacation, surviving summer, launching a business, or anything like that. But they don't know exactly who they need to work with. They don't even know maybe even what checklist would make their life easier. And so that's where that's where the key of content being searchable and linking it to something valuable. And then you're going to lead them to your website where you have more control over the relationship and those touch points.
I love it. Yeah, something that's like really value and needs based for that person. Again, if you're kind of thinking from the consumer side of things and not looking at it as advertising per se, like what you're saying, it's so inspired. I mean, I could even see like banking clients, going out and creating like those checklists for like, how is your financial health? How are you
Mhm.
planning for your like the five things you need to be planning for your financial future or anything like that. It's like so many people just overlook the opportunity to empower the consumer. And through empowerment comes that sense of like trust and loyalty. And ultimately, when they have to make a decision, like you just said, you've managed and created a relationship by providing value, without a necessary like exchange of money right away. And now they see you as a potential trusted partner. And all you did was create a little checklist and put it out there. And again, my digital marketing brain goes down such a rabbit hole. It's like I could map out like all the different needs, and then you can create like your pillars of content that you're creating based on those needs, and that could also be informed by search.
Mhm.
What are people looking for when it comes to banking needs and issues? Create
See,
some of
I
that
like to take it
content.
a step further with clients
Let's
and
do it.
then map out the funnel or like the web. I don't even want to call it a funnel, it's a web.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
get to the checklist, but on the
Uh-huh.
checklist now you can link, here's my top 3 blog posts or podcast episodes. And then from there on your show notes of the podcast, you're going to have linked to another opt-in and just keep
Love
it
it.
going
Yep.
without feeling overwhelming. Like it's a natural progression
Yeah.
and you just do it step by step yourself. So you're not feeling like I have to create 10 things at one time. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Focus on the podcast. Then
Yeah.
we'll make this one thing, but
Uh-huh.
then we reverse engineer it and
Mhm.
repurpose those things on Pinterest so that
Yep.
you have people going to it because you created it.
Mhm.
So now we need to have people find it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're giving me so many ideas. Oh my gosh, this is fun. Yeah, anytime you want to go deeper and nerd out more, bring it. This is the place for it.
All the time. All the
All
time.
the time. All right, let's talk about keywords again. They play a pretty critical role in Pinterest visibility. Could you walk us through your process for searching and implementing keywords that will drive traffic?
Yes. So my process is simple. Again, I try not to overthink anything or make it overwhelming
Hmm.
because simple but
Yeah.
powerful for the win.
Hmm.
So just dive into the Pinterest search bar to explore terms your audience might already be typing. And it's almost like Google and see what else pops up. And that's
Yeah.
what people are working for. So look at those suggested keywords that autofill. I think I said that wrong.
It's
That's what
okay.
Pinterest is showing you what's already trending without you even diving deep into analytics and
Mhm.
Pinterest predicts or anything like that. So you want to plug those things into your pin titles, descriptions, and board names,
Hmm.
and then cross check that with the Pinterest Trends tool, which you get access to through the Pinterest business account that you set up, and align that content with seasonal spikes.
Yep.
So, and this is where I feel like the timeless slow burn comes.
Yeah.
Every December, really
Uh-uh.
probably in October, but every fourth quarter, everyone is already starting about vision work and their goal setting and where they're
Yeah.
going to go for the next year.
Hmm.
So having that content, you might need to tweak one or two things, but pins that you do last year
Yeah.
will pop up this year
Yeah.
because people are still searching for that.
Hmm.
They're always going to want to make themselves better in some way,
Yep.
professionally, personally, what have you. So already having pins there,
Hmm.
make sure that your content is going to be seen, but then you can create new pins on the same stuff you've already made with what may be trending from the trends tool
Love
of,
it.
is it women? Is it
Right.
whatever, diving
Yeah.
into that part to tweak it to make sure
Hmm.
that it's discovered again and again.
I love it. That's so smart. Again, it's just taking that evergreen content. I love the idea of building upon it, optimizing it, updating it. Again, just work smarter, not harder, right?
Yeah. And so to go full circle with like the sustainable system, that
Uh-huh.
is the second step is repurposing content you already have.
Yeah.
I there is not a business I feel like out there right now that doesn't already have some sort of like content bank.
Hmm.
Whether it is your top performing
Yeah.
reels and carousels from Instagram,
Uh-huh.
use that to start with. Don't even make something new.
Right.
Or blog posts or a
Uh-huh.
newsletter
Yeah.
that you can turn into a blog post. It
Mhm.
could be if you were a guest on a podcast. I know in the show notes is going to be your information.
Yep.
So even funneling them to a guest spot will help you. And then you can batch create those pins and schedule them in advance, again, saving you more time.
Love it. That's so great. So smart. All right. So, a lot of the folks who are listening, and by the way, live listening audience, please feel free to drop questions in the chat if you have them for Dana. We're more than happy to answer them while you're here. We do this podcast for you. That's why I want you all here when we're recording live. So, if there's anything I'm not touching on or that we're missing, you get the chance to ask. All right. So, on behalf of them, I know a lot of our members and women who are listening are probably juggling multiple marketing platforms already. How do you recommend that they integrate Pinterest into their existing marketing ecosystems, possibly without adding to their workload too much, if possible?
I hear so. I might be one of the few people that might actually say this, but I would never recommend you stop being on other platforms.
Yeah.
Because you need to be where your people are.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
so for many of us, that could be LinkedIn. For many
Mm-hmm.
of us, that could be on Instagram and wedding planners are on there a lot. So most of my marketing minutes are on Instagram because that's where my people are. I need to pull them to Pinterest.
Yeah.
But for wedding pros and creatives, they're on this one, but they're also on Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
So Pinterest works best when it complements what you're already doing. I feel like I've said this 10 times already, but repurpose what you already have.
Yeah.
So have a blog, repurpose it into pins. Dissect that blog post into 10 different pins.
I love it.
Is it from 5 years ago and need to be refreshed? Well, then do a quick search in the search bar of what's trending based on the topic of the blog post.
Yep.
Update it a little bit and repurpose it again. If you have a podcast, turn those episodes into visual content. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're not one to show your face. So like I have a podcast, you do not see my face. So I take the audiograms and tie it to a video pin and repurpose that. Do you have galleries of, even if you're product based, how many product pictures do you have?
Yeah.
Give those longer lifespans on Pinterest. Create pins for those and lead them to your storefront, your individual product links, or a mixture of the two. Then batch it, design those pins monthly, and use a scheduler to schedule it out. You can use Pinterest native tool, which again is in the business account, or you can use something like Tailwind and you can en masse create pins and schedule them out like 3 months at a time. Mm-hmm. That depends on how much time you actually have. But I typically help my clients that are in the pin it, forget it, or the styled pin, help them get a month worth of brand visibility in less than 2 hours. So it's honing in on what works and getting it done. And then you can like wipe your hands and be done with it until next month.
Yeah. Well, and I think what you really called out there was that it's just a matter of using your time wisely, leveraging the content that you currently have. And so it's not like you're not saying reinvent the wheel and start from scratch. We're saying take what you have and make it work for Pinterest based on some of the advice that you gave earlier. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And it makes me so excited to see and hear what some of our folks will be doing and sort of like opening that door and bringing content back onto Pinterest. Allie, one of our listeners, has a great question. Do you find that service-based businesses have much success on Pinterest versus tangible items? I think that's a really fair question.
So I will admit that I focus more on service-based businesses versus product. But as I go through Pinterest and just seeing what's available and like learning through Pinterest Academy, because I try to do that every Friday. So I stay up to date.
Love it.
Both do extremely well. There's things called, I don't think they're called idea pins anymore, but that's the best way. They're called an idea pin. And you can now click on like the shirt that the model is wearing and it will show you various places to purchase that. So product based is still going to do really well, but service based does good too. I was looking at the analytics for a travel planner that I had. We parted ways for a couple months because of personal reasons, but then she came back and so I was like, let me dive into your analytics. Right. And I haven't pinned for her in 5 months. I had to look at what month we're in. Right. And she still has 1,000 monthly views coming to her content.
That's great.
I haven't made new content for her. So that strategy worked. So I think hopefully that answers the question. I think both do extremely well. Yeah. Just the strategy that you utilize is going to slightly differ.
Yeah, I was gonna say it brought to mind for me the only time I've used Pinterest for product was when I worked on Febreze, and for us it was usage. It was all about like creative usage type of things, like ways to use Febreze, hacks on how to leverage Febreze for like your stinky teenager's room, like all those kinds of things. And people ate that up. So like the more creative that we could get with like usage to be like what you
Mhm.
said, educational and inspirational or even aspirational, I think is kind of the way to go. Don't just put a picture of your product up there and assume people are going to buy it. Make the content useful, make it helpful, help it like make it to where it's solving a problem for them. And then, yeah, it's such a good win. I think those some of our most like quote unquote viral pins
Mhm.
were our our second day jean hack of just literally for bruising your jeans. Like, like nobody doesn't do this already, but I think people felt seen when they saw it. They were like, "Oh my god, I do that. I will wear jeans for a whole week because I just Febreze them every day." You know?
That's I love that
Yep.
so much.
Yep, I think they were hardcore relating. So if you're not giving them a new idea on usage or a creative use case, you know, at least kind of help them feel like they're being related to when you kind of let everybody know that it's okay that we wear our jeans the second day and we just Febreze them rather than wash them.
Mhm.
All right. So your membership, the Styled Pin Collection, it provides, as I mentioned in the bio earlier, monthly Pinterest content. What have you learned about what makes pins truly effective from creating for so many different industries?
Clarity wins, hands down.
Ah, I love it.
No, and myself included. I'm like,
Yeah.
if I go on a website or a
Uh-huh.
blog, I'm like, what am I doing here? What am I trying to get to? Or I
Mhm.
sign up for something and
Yeah.
I don't understand what's happening. Like, y'all should have thought this through. So
Yeah.
the most effective pins have clear headlines,
Uh-huh.
strong visuals, and easy to read fonts. So making sure that the image will probably be the first thing that they notice. So you
Hmm.
want your image to be strong, clear, and like representative of what it is that they're
Hmm.
looking at. But
Yep.
then the headline needs to hook them with the outcome or the similarity of what they're looking for. Then consistency is going to build trust. So when your brand style is easily recognizable, we kind of talked about this earlier,
Uh-huh.
people are more likely to click.
Yep.
So in the styled pen, they're meant to be plug and play. You can
Mhm.
easily swap out the colors, fonts, and images to match yours so that no matter what platform they discover you on, they know, oh,
Consistency.
this is
Yep.
Amy Vaughan. This is
Yep.
Dana. This
Yep.
is whoever. Um, I have seen where pin content leads me to a website that does
Right.
not match the pin content. I'm like,
Yep.
I need to get off of here. I feel like I'm looking at spam and
Yep.
I'll quickly get off and I will not go back.
Yeah.
And then relevance matters. Pins
Hmm.
tied to real time search trends or
Yeah.
evergreen needs consistently will perform best, like that
Yep.
educational content.
Hmm.
And I've seen, I mean, this will work across many industries, whether it's wedding pros, digital coaches, health and wellness, whomever. Like
Yeah.
that is going to be the three things that you need to focus on.
I love it. That's great advice. Well said. Allie, thank you for the question too. We appreciate it. Keep it coming if you guys have more. We've got another question here, actually two questions, and then we're going to get into the fun little rapid fire power round in case you guys have any other questions. And we have plenty of time if you want to jump in. All right, let's talk about every client's favorite. What's the ROI? How do you help clients measure the true impact of their Pinterest strategy beyond just impressions and or saves on Pinterest?
So I focus first on visibility, impressions,
Mm,
because that lets me know my keywords are working either for myself or for my
yes,
client.
I
Because
love it.
if it's not showing up in the feed,
Yep.
well, then we have a problem.
Yep.
They're not going to click. No one's going to convert because they're not being found.
Right.
So that's the one that I focus on the first.
Uh-huh.
But then after that, it's clicks, outbound clicks. Are people clicking to go to your site? Are they going to your landing page for the opt-in? And
Mm-hmm.
then are they then signing up for it? Are they booking a call? Are they purchasing that product?
Right.
Is your email list growing?
Mm-hmm.
Pinterest, like I said, is a long game, but it's one
Sure.
of those few platforms where your content can continue generating leads 6 months after you publish
Yeah.
it. So that's powerful ROI. And that's why I recommend like don't check it weekly, check it monthly. Give it
Yeah.
time to work and give it time to look through.
Ugh.
But those are the things that I recommend looking for when I'm working with clients. That's what I focus on is
Yeah.
impressions,
Uh-huh.
pin clicks. So they
Yeah.
they didn't just see it, but they liked it enough or it
Yep.
piqued their interest
Open it
enough
up.
to open the pin.
Mm-hmm.
And then do they go to where we wanted them to go.
Yeah.
So that's my Pinterest focus. But then on a client base or service provider, are they then taking action? So if they're
Right.
going to your website
Mhm.
or the landing page and they're not following through,
Yep.
then not that this is where like my bread and butter service is, but I will help take a look at the copy or anything on that
Mhm.
landing page. Maybe something's not lining up. Like I
Yeah.
said, if your pin content doesn't match that,
Yep. That relevancy.
maybe that's the red flag and we need
Yep.
to take a look at it. And
Mhm.
I'll help you or I will recommend someone who can help you better depending on what the service is.
Yeah. I love it. All super, super smart. You know what I was just thinking, Dana? You know how, so Dana's a member of our Together Digital community as well now. And I think it was you. I posted and shared that I'm going to be speaking at Content Marketing World. And I know the speaker applications are closed, but I just, before we move on to the next, like last few questions, I really want to encourage you to apply to speak next year on this, because I think too many content creators, we are so like shiny object syndrome and chasing, and all the talks are AI and TikTok, although TikTok's died down a little bit. And I just think this has been such a good, refreshing reminder of like the value of, like you said, quality content, using the right platforms, approaching it, looking at the right KPIs, and really providing and creating value versus noise into the space that is the internet for brands. I really do. I want to encourage you, and I'm going to follow up with you and find out if you do apply.
I think I did email them or like
Yeah?
I couldn't figure out like where the speaker application was.
Okay.
It wasn't like easily
Uh-huh.
discoverable. So I messaged them like, hey, I have recommendations for speakers for next year.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting on a response. But if you
Okay.
have someone to connect
I
me
know
with
the organizers.
directly,
I'm going to hook you up, girl. I'm going to hook
that
you
would be
up. Yeah,
great.
no, absolutely. Yeah. And I know that they've done all their picks for the speaking this year, and I will show you exactly where it is next year so you can apply to speak. Because I do think there would be so much value in that conversation. And again, and I just love throwing it back to some of these platforms again, because we get so shiny object syndrome. We kind of really forget like the truly valuable platforms that we have still within the space that we can, you know, really use. And again, like you're not saying you have to create all new content for it. It's just take what you have and leverage it in a way that's creative and useful and helpful. And again, I love the set it and forget it stuff, man. I used to be on an always on team for Twitter. Yes, I'm still calling it Twitter and I always will. But it was just like we had to literally sit there every day at the beginning of the day and look at the news and look what was trending on Twitter and try to kind of infuse the two to talk about fabric softener. And I'm like, nobody gives a shit about fabric softener on Twitter. Now, I will say that there are brands that have done a good job, talking to you, Miss Wendy, like Wendy's and things like that, that have really made good use of it, but it's really for like entertainment purposes, right? Is it driving more sales to Wendy's? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It's definitely keeping on top of mind. But yeah, that's, as a creative, it was a fun challenge, but it was exhausting. So this all appeals to me so much. It's healing the wounds of my past always on life. So
I have avoided Twitter or X or whatever at all costs.
Yeah.
I do not have an account. I do not want an account.
Yeah, you won't find, I mean, you'll find an old page of ours on there, but I give it no love.
None whatsoever.
It's a lot to keep up with. It's moving too fast for me. I'm like, I don't know, getting old in my old age, I guess. All right. Looking ahead, how do you see Pinterest evolving as a marketing platform, and what should businesses be doing now to position themselves for some of those changes that maybe if we haven't kept up with Pinterest might be coming around the corner?
Pinterest is leaning more into shopping tools and visual search. Like I was saying,
Love it.
You can click on like one photo and click on the pants, the shoes, the whatever, and go directly to that. But
Very
so
cool.
it opens up affiliate options. I love that. I'm super excited about the continued investment again on evergreen content and SEO, because that is what makes your job as a creator, service provider, product business so much easier to lean into those things.
Yeah.
Of what are they searching for? Let's not do a song and dance.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, great, but you don't have to, because you're doing the market research of what are your people looking for, and you're answering that with focus keyword pin content.
Agreed.
Experimenting with the idea pins for storytelling and building that connection similar to other platforms.
Mhm.
But now they can like your talking bobblehead.
Right.
But if they like my mic, they can click on this mic and go
Right.
get it. They can
Uh-huh.
click on my shirt and go find it.
Right.
And building content that educates, inspires, and solves a problem.
Mhm.
So I think looking ahead and how someone should position themselves, don't wait. Like if you want to be ready in front of face and easily discovered in Christmas
Mhm.
because you're a product-based business and that's a big month for you, you need to get your systems in place now so that
Yep.
you can be positioned to benefit from what's coming.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I can't wait to introduce you to some of my business owner friends as well, that are in like the food and beverage space and all those kinds of things. So they're all very seasonal. And one of the strategies we talked about was making some of those things that get deemed seasonal year round by kind of having fun
Ooh.
and playing with the content and pushing it outside of that. It was a barbecue business. And she says, it's so
Oh,
hard for us.
absolutely.
And I was like, dude, there are people who would eat barbecue year round. You see guys out there, even ladies sometimes out there smoking some ribs and it's 20 below. Like, are you kidding me? Like, there are people who would rather have a rack of ribs than a turkey on Thanksgiving. Like, you could have so much fun with it. And
My
I was just
husband
thinking,
is one of those people.
is he? So it was just like this whole limiting belief of like barbecue's only for summer. So our business is always going to languish every time of year but summer. And I thought, now marketing, some good solid marketing and positioning could actually really help shift that. So I'm going to have to introduce you to Kristen at Sweets It Meats. She was a guest on our Together Marketing Rescue podcast, which allows small businesses to come and share. Like, you need to listen to that too. There's some good episodes where small businesses come in, share their biggest pain points, and then we try to help them come up with ideas and strategies on how to solve those pain points with marketing. And then our members will pitch them their business and services as a way to help them find the right fit and partners based on their actual needs versus trying to go for some big agency where they're going to pay a ton of overhead and they can't really afford it anyway. So it's helping small businesses and small business marketing service providers kind of match up and have the opportunity to work together. And it's been such a fun project and such a fun like objective for a podcast. So if you haven't listened to it yet, definitely check out the Together Marketing Rescue. I've got two other amazing co-hosts on that. And we've interviewed, let's see, an event planner. So she'd be a great one for you to talk to.
Yeah.
Spark, and then the barbecue business, another catering business, Magnificent Morsels. She's going to be like, I don't know how to explain it. We joked on the episode. We're like, you're going to be Black Martha. Cause she like has her like kitchen. She has her restaurant now. She has cookware. She has a spice line. And so trying to figure out like how to position herself, it is like, she's going to take over the world. I love Crystal so much. She's a dear
That makes
friend
my
as
heart
well.
happy that they just come and get advice.
Yeah. I mean, and they're so open and vulnerable because it's like we're all small business owners. So we know like the pain points, but we know and live and breathe marketing. And like, but she knows spices and cooking. You know, I'm not that great of a cook and I use her spices to make my food taste better. But like, yeah, it's just so amazing. And then there was another, a woman who was I just thinking of? Oh, the Davis Cookie Company. That would be another fun one for you to talk to as well. But yeah, I could just see how in all of these businesses, how leveraging Pinterest as like an evergreen marketing tool could just be so amazing. So I'll make sure I send you the link to all those episodes after this as well.
Yes, I'll happily dive into those.
Yeah, they're fun. And they're all good peeps, you know, all amazing folks. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go into our power round of questions to get through. But again, awesome audience, if you have another question, we got a few minutes. We could definitely squeeze it in. So don't be shy. All right, what is one Pinterest myth that you're on a mission to debunk?
That you do not have to create content daily.
Yay!
Yeah,
right?
no. Strategy is much better than hustle any day. I swear to
Preach,
God.
girl. Preach. It's so true. All right, the most surprising business niche that you have seen succeed on Pinterest.
Men's fashion.
Nice.
I think, well, primarily it is a woman focused
Yeah.
platform
Yeah.
for obvious reasons.
But who's
most
shopping for the
people-
guys' clothes?
Exactly.
Us.
Exactly. Well, that too. So most people assume Pinterest is for wedding dresses or recipes, kids' clothes, but men's style guides, capsule
wardrobes.
There we
I'm
go.
a fan of that. I love capsule
Grooming
wardrobe.
content consistently is starting to perform really well.
You should
because
reach
they
out
want
to
to look good
Gillette.
too.
Yeah, they used to be a client of mine. I don't think any of my old clients are still there, but we should get you to hook up with Gillette. That's great. We used to try to do a lot of styling content. I worked on Pantene and Gillette. And you know what's really sad now that I think back on it? We didn't really leverage Pinterest for any of those. I think maybe Pantene for like hairstyles and stuff. But otherwise, missed opportunity. Oh well, their fault, not mine.
Right. Send it my way. I will do that.
Right? All right, fill in the blank. The best Pinterest strategy is like gardening because
You plant the right seeds, give them time, and watch your efforts multiply long after you stepped away.
love it. I love how prepared you are for all of this too. It's so great.
Event planner
We're
me.
two of a kind right here. All right, one Pinterest feature that most marketers underutilize.
I would say video pins. And that's
Mm,
myself too. I'm going to call myself out because I
yeah.
don't like putting my face on video a
Hmm.
lot or ever if I have to. Which is why Pinterest works really well for
Yeah.
like introverts that
Hmm.
want to remain faceless. But
Yeah.
video pins are amazing for storytelling and
Yeah.
repurposing your short form content from Instagram or TikTok for that matter. So it helps you boost your visibility, but then create that
Yeah.
one-on-one time without
Mhm.
having to create that one time.
Yeah, no, that's great. I get it. But, after this, our amazing Heartcast media team is going to put together a bunch of little video shorts for you and they're going to share them and it's going to have your beautiful face on it. It's exposure therapy. I feel you. I don't love being in front of rooms or on camera. In fact, I can't even see myself right now. I just hide my self view pretty much the whole time. I can just see your lovely face, but people love faces, right? Research and marketing shows us that like we look for faces in our marketing and advertising. So I would say just, that's my little love and nudge for you is that you've just got some great ideas, thoughts, opinions, and a lovely face to go with it. So don't be too shy about it. Awesome. All right, friends. Well, it looks like we don't have any other questions from the audience, so we'll go ahead and wrap it. Dana, thank you so much for this. It's been such a pleasure having you on with us. Really enjoyed our conversation.
Thanks. It was fun. I will always geek out about some sort of content strategy. So,
Right?
anytime.
And I will say, if you all want to geek out some more and you just can't get enough of Dana, she's going to be back in the form of our Together Digital Masterclass. So those of you who are members, if you know it or not, every month we have a hour-and-a-half long masterclass that is a deep dive into different aspects of leadership and self-worth, but then also marketing and advertising and digital and technology. And so Dana's going to be coming back and joining us later in the year for Evergreen content strategies that sell. That'll be our October. This one that we have coming up in June is all about walking in your truth and finding your own individuality, authenticity, and strength. So like these masterclasses just really range. But I am super excited for your masterclass. I kind of wish it was sooner, Dana, but it'll be October before we know it.
I know. I feel like summer just started, and yet tomorrow feels like it's going to end. So
I know, right? Absolutely. Well, now that the whole Maysember is over, we can all take a deep breath and hopefully go into our long weekend and get some rest. Because I don't know about y'all, but this month kicked my butt.
oh my God. The beginning of the month was good. The
Yeah.
end of this month,
Uh-huh.
because between my husband and I, we do have 5 kids, and there
Yeah.
was back to back
Yep.
end of year parties and ceremonies, and
A
we had to
lot.
divide and conquer. And I was
Yeah.
like, yesterday was the first full day of not doing that. It was first day of summer, and I was like, thank God, I can just
Take a deep
sit
breath.
and
Oh
do
my gosh.
nothing.
Right? I'm gonna sit on my porch, read my book. I can't remember the last time I did that. Yeah, you gotta look at the member Slack, the Maysember little video another facilitator sent me because we were talking about this insanity, and it's just so you're gonna feel it. It's so spot on, especially with the 5 kids. Oh my God, I don't know how you do it, lady. Don't know how. Well, I do know how you do it. Process.
Process is my calendar is color coded and looks like a bag of skills exploded,
I love
but
it.
it's fine and it's gonna work out.
It is. You're doing amazing. Keep it up. All right, everyone. Well, we'll close it out there. If you're interested in joining the masterclasses or getting into our members only Slack, check out togetherindigital.com and check it out the options. We have monthly memberships, annual memberships, memberships for students, and then even foundation granted memberships if you need the help. So with that, we'll close it out and we'll be excited to see you all here again, hopefully next week as we have some more fantastic conversations on all things digital in life. Until then, keep asking, keep giving, and keep growing. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Produced by Heartcast Media.